Fidelity's head of talent acquisition shares how you can land one of the company's 9,000 open job positions. Here's an article that was published in Business Insider this morning, highlighting some of the different things that Fidelity is looking for in their candidate pool as they try and fill these 9,000 immediate job openings. And that's, of course, interesting from a job seeker level, just to understand that Fidelity is on this big hiring spree. But in terms of being an employer brand practitioner and understanding the recruitment marketing tactics that are taking place here, there are three really important lessons that I think businesses that are at the Fidelity scale or smaller can take from an article like this and use in their own toolkit as they try and expand out their recruitment marketing tactics. And so those three we're going to share. But just to cover the top level points of this article. So Fidelity, of course, announced recently that they're trying to fill 16,000 jobs by the end of the year. And the 9,000 must be kind of the immediate roles. And they're hiring across a few different functions. They're hiring across kind of course, finance, marketing, technology, customer service, operations. So there's a lot of opportunity as a job seeker to get into Fidelity right now and build a career. And the article actually goes into a lot of the different things that they're doing from a culture standpoint and an organizational development standpoint to encourage people to join. So that's a great opportunity if you're in the market for a new job. But moving over to the employer brand practitioner standpoint, it's interesting as a tactic to try and place an article in the news or get coverage with your head of talent acquisition, and get the media talking about how your company is hiring a bunch of people. And of course, a lot of times the national media outlets are going to require a company with the scale of a Fidelity or an Amazon. We saw that recently with their 125,000 person hiring spree that they're trying to get through to get coverage. But there's really no reason why, as a smaller business in a local market or a smaller market, that you couldn't, figure out a way to signal to the media or signal to the market that, hey, look, we're going on a hiring spree and we need 50 people, and get that placed in the media. And that'll do a few different things. And I'll share those three things now. So the first thing that an article like that placed in the media does for your employer brand is it signals that you're a winner. We talked about this in another video, but everybody loves winners. And that's especially true when it comes to careers. People typically want to invest their careers. I mean, these careers as a concept are very important. And so people want to invest their careers in companies that they can see a future with, that they think is growing, and that they know that they're going to have a level of security when it comes to their household and career. So anytime that a brand can enhance its employer brand by signaling to the market that they're hiring or that they're winning on the revenue front or the growth front, it's a great idea. So that's step one, or that's kind of benefit one to doing something like this and pushing something out to the media. Benefit two is actually setting persona expectations for who you're looking to hire. So one of the big parts of this article in Business Insider is actually the head of talent acquisition at Fidelity explaining the kind of candidate that they're looking for. And so she outlines very clearly that they're looking for problem solvers. And that's kind of the one of the key attributes that they're looking for. And it's a great tactic because one of the benefits of a great employer brand, regardless of the size of your company, it's not only who you attract that makes an employer brand effective, but it's also who you gatekeep. So if you think about an organization that maybe has a culture of, say, working 70, 80 hours a week, think of maybe like the traditional stereotype of a law firm, for example, where you're working 70, 80 hours a week and it's a very cutthroat environment. Well, your employer brand, if you go to the market and when you want to kind of attract people from the talent pool, has to speak to those kind of people, right? So you don't want to have an employer brand as an organization with that kind of culture that speaks to somebody who's desperate to only work maybe 30 hours a week and maximize the time that they get out of work. So your employer brand has to speak to your organization, and it has to speak to who you're looking for as an organization, right? The kind of persona that is successful in your culture. And so an article like this does an interesting job of actually outlining in a narrative format what the company is looking for. It's sometimes difficult actually to to accurately portray in a job description when you're working with bullet points and you can imagine the mindset of somebody who's in the job search mode. I'm kind of scanning through job descriptions to really relay the kind of characteristics and attributes that the company is looking for. When you get people reading an article and you get to put it in an editorialized fashion, it can be easier to relay some of those attributes that you're looking for. And so that's one of the secondary benefits of pushing an article like this out to the media, is that if you get the right kind of quotes in there, and if you get the right narrative going, you can actually explain exactly who you're looking for, and it cuts a lot of the time when you think of time to fill and time to hire on the HR side when they get to your company. So that's benefit number 2, and then benefit number 3 is actually access to passive candidates. So by pushing an article like this to the media, Fidelity then signals to the market, look, we're on a big hiring spree, and there will be more people that read an article like this than will be kind of actively job searching on LinkedIn or something like that. So when somebody who maybe isn't or doesn't know that they're looking for a job, or doesn't think that they're actually interested in finding a new job, sees an article like this and maybe has the brand recognition with Fidelity, sees that, oh, look, they're hiring for my function. Maybe they work in technology or something, or they want to transition into technology from their current function. You activate them as a candidate. Typically, access to passive candidates is one of those things where you've got to hire a recruiting firm or hire a headhunter and get help that way, because passive candidates are usually not the ones that are desperate to find a job, and can sometimes be a little bit more valuable in the marketplace, because just by function of them being employed means that their current organization probably sees a lot of value in them and wants to keep them too. So just by signaling to the market and pushing an article out there, you can actually get access to passive candidates, or get the eyeballs of passive candidates who then you might be able to persuade with certain other tactics later. But that's benefit number 3. And so when you combine those 3 together, so you get signal to the market that you're a winner. Everybody loves a winner. Signal to the market what your expectations are as an organization for who you want to hire. And then third, access to passive candidates. You've got a nice little cocktail there of benefits that showcases why a company would do an article like this and push it to the media. So just a kind of final conclusion, finance, we know, is one of those hot industries. It always is. It's volatile too. We see with every big hiring spree that we see in finance, we see big layoffs as well. But regardless, there are certain kind of benefits that finance typically provides, and that's always attractive to people. But the other side of finance is that there are very strong brands in finance. I mean, Fidelity, if you think of finance, typically isn't the first name that comes to mind. And you can see the kind of hiring and the scale that they're doing there. So you can imagine what the other kind of bigger names are doing with their talent acquisition efforts. So a company like Fidelity has to compete at this level. But as practitioners at companies that are maybe a little bit smaller than this, or if you're the head of the HR department at your organization and you're looking for ways to signal to the market and differentiate your employer brand from the others in your industry, pushing something out to press is really not a bad idea, especially if it speaks to growth and it speaks to your company being a winner.